welcome. I see a few familiar faces are starting to come into the room. Welcome. It's great to see you. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Candace. How are you? We've got just about a minute before we get going. I'm going to let people get situated, get their volume on, attach their audio. Yes, it is a gorgeous day here in San Antonio. It really is. I wasn't real sure how the week was gonna shape up, but the storms went by the wayside and it has just really turned out to be a gorgeous day today. It's not too hot yet, which given a minute, it'll change. Hi, Thomas from Austin. How are you? It's good to see you. Joey, you're in Houston. Nice to see you. Hi, Julie. Awesome, awesome. I am really glad to see so many smiling faces here today. It's the top of the hour, so let's go ahead and dive in and get started. I think that you're in for a treat. For those of you who have not been in one of our classes yet, my name is Amy, and I am an independent travel agent. And I didn't know when I initially began the business that it was going to be my business. And so it really kind of took me by surprise when they're like, well, what's the name of your business? And I'm like, what do you mean? Stop, wait. And so as I gained a little bit more experience and kind of got my legs underneath me, I would look around and kept seeing more and more of the same questions being asked by people in different travel agent groups or perhaps newcomers onto my team, for instance. And so I just really thought that it would be important if we kind of pause a minute and start at the beginning. Because if you've never owned a business, you really don't know what you don't know yet. And I seem to learn something new each and every day, which I'm really grateful for because that's what keeps me excited and really wanting to make sure that I'm doing my very best. So, that being said, if there are any topics that you would like me to go over or you have specific questions, if you would leave those in the chat, I definitely want to make sure that everyone walks away from this series feeling like they really had questions answered for them. Because sometimes there's just so much great information and training that you really don't know where to start. And so I thought that it was important for me to be able to, put something together for everyone to kind of get the foundation and the steps that are necessary for you to be able to have a successful start to your business. And there are definitely some topics that seem to overlay and overlap. I've noticed as I've put the trainings together, which is really great because it just reinforces that foundation that you're making sure is strong and sturdy so that you can have a great business and have great clients and feel really good about the product and the service that you're offering to your community and clients, right? So, last week we talked about the different strategies in crafting your unique brand. We are going to kind of touch on some of those items again, but in the very beginning, in the first week, we went over debunking travel industry myths. And one of the reasons why that's just really important is because maybe you are brand new and you really don't know what's fact, what's fiction, what's an old wives' tale. And you've got the community looking to you, right? You're the go to person in your groups, in your family, in your community. And you want to make sure that you understand what's what and to be able to relay that and really educate people who are either looking to join the travel industry or wanting to travel and they've got all these just misconceptions going around. So that's really important that we debunked some of those myths. And as always, you can go back to my YouTube channel at Amy-Ren-IA, and you can rewatch it. You can watch it for the first time. And if you like it, I really hope that you subscribe because you'll get, little reminders and, information and, any kind of changes that are coming up, you'll be able to get those all there. But more importantly, if you are able to join my Facebook group, that would be prime because it is a private group. And I don't do that so people can't find me, but I just do it because sometimes when we're brand new, or at least when I was brand new, I really didn't want to ask a bunch of questions to a bunch of people who had all this experience. And I didn't want to feel silly. I didn't want to feel stupid. So I wanted to kind of create a safe place where you don't have to feel silly or like you should already know something, because there are plenty of people who have been in the industry for a minute and they still have some questions about that foundation, about their brand, and how to put all of these little pieces together. So, I thought that we would start off with kind of understanding what the perception in the travel industry is and the importance of being able to define its significance so that you're able to, really influence your customers and clients and make them have a better view at what it is that they're diving into with you, right? Because I never speak to a client, a potential client, and think it's going to be a one off. I don't want that. I want to be able to create vacations or di- different events, destination weddings and such, reunions. I want to be able to do that in the future and time coming and when they have children. And I want to be able to really have a familiarity with my clients. And so it was really important for me to take that time in making sure that I created the perception and the branding that I wanted for my business. So, people might be asking, okay, well, what do you mean by travel industry perception? Well, the perception is what it refers to the way that individuals interpret and make sense of the world around them. And this can be, you know, molded throughout their lives. And it's, from sensory experiences, it's their beliefs about something, it's their attitudes. And even more importantly, it's their expectations. And why I say expectations is really important is because, as we've talked about, the social media platforms have done us a huge favor in putting content for travel everywhere. If you go type in travel anywhere, you're going to get so much great content, whether it be just print pictures or it's videos or it's vlogs or it's, informational sessions. There's so much information that's out there about travel and about different destinations. So you want to make sure that that image that you're having perceived is the one that you're wanting to promote. And, they say perception is reality. And sometimes that works in our favor, and sometimes we wish that maybe it wasn't always so. But if you are from the very beginning making sure that you have a compelling and unique brand and something that is authentic that you can stand behind, then this is really going to be something that's going to help, quieten down the noise and have you rise above anybody that's even thinking about competing in the same niche as you, right? Okay. Um, yes, Patrick, we will go over those. I wasn't gonna bring it up yet, but I will be doing a master class. And as I get all the details put together, I will definitely make sure that you guys are the very first people that know anything about it. And that way, if you want a seat in the master class, that space will be saved for you. But we'll dive into particular topics like really in depth in that master class. And also the I want to do some tutorials where it's like you're looking over my shoulder while I'm doing a content creation or editing something, so that I'm not just telling you these tools that you can use, but I'm actually kind of walking you through them. Because again, one of the travel myths that we debunked is you do not have to be a tech guru, but you definitely have to embrace the fact that digital content and creating content is definitely something that's going to catapult your business ahead of everybody else's. And I mean, we're all guilty of it. When I'm scrolling through anything, the first thing that catches my eye is what? Right, a video, a picture, somebody talking to me instead of just, words. The more that you can make it inviting and, unique, then the more people are going to be gravitating towards whatever it is that you're talking about. And that's what we want to do. So, where positive perceptions of a destination when you are portraying them as safe, and they've got all of these really exciting attractions and all of this really rich culture, that is the perception that is probably perceived in their mind already. You don't want to talk about this, a beautiful island, and then the content that you're putting out isn't portraying this beautiful, these sandy beaches and this crystal clear water and the seagulls and the back. You don't want to leave all that out, because whether or not someone's actually been to a particular destination or not, they have an idea in their head already, more times than not, about what it is that they perceive this experience is going to be like. And again, that's another reason why it's really important to be sure to vet your clients ahead of time, so that you're really understanding what kind of experience it is that they're wanting you to book for them. And then we also, on the flip side of that, if they have a negative perception, maybe they're thinking it's not safe. I know when COVID was winding down, there were still so many people that didn't really know what the different requirements were and which ones had gone by the wayside and which ones weren't being expected of them anymore as far as testing or, having to isolate. And so, you know, making sure that they understand that this is a safe place that they're going to, and that they don't have to have any concern that there's going to be lack of attractions or things to do. And it's just going to kind of be just a box, if you will. I can have fun in a box, but that's not everybody. So you definitely want to make sure that the perception that they're having in their mind when they're telling you about the vacation experience that they want is definitely something that you're able to deliver to them. And, brand image plays a lot in perception as well, because travel agencies and independent contractors, tour operators and suppliers, anybody related to the travel business really rely on their brand image to attract customers and clients, right? And a positive brand perception is definitely going to be characterized by some of the attributes that we've talked about, as far as being reliable and making sure that you are the expert in that field. So you're portraying this expertise in answering your questions, and also that you can provide exceptional service. All of these things can differentiate your business from somebody else's. And that really is going to influence your customer's choice, when they're choosing to and making a decision on which travel agent or travel agency that they're wanting to book with. And again, like I said, I don't think of any bookings as a one-off. I don't care if you're just, hey, I left something out of this travel itinerary. I already have booked. Can you make sure that can I get you to, book a room for one night or whatever in the middle of this vacation? Absolutely, I can. And I'm going to make sure that I am giving you exactly, excuse me, exactly the perception I want you to see when you think of travel and when you think of my business. So that next time you're coming to me for all the stops, because I wouldn't have left out a little step like that in the first place, right? Because I pay attention to the details. So again, this is something that's going to elevate you above the crowd, which again is important. And then, of course, there are online reviews and what your reputation is. Consumers' perceptions of the travel business and a destination or a particular accommodation that they're going to be staying at can be heavily influenced by online reviews. I know that when I, first started shopping as an adult or looking around for things and making comparisons, I wasn't really paying too much attention to reviews. But now I almost let them make a decision for me. If I really don't know or really don't have enough information about something, I just usually go straight to the reviews. And of course, you have to understand that you can always have a bad apple that's thrown in there. But if someone's really looking at these reviews, that's something that they're going to be able to figure out. Um, you want to be able to provide your clients a link or some way that they can share their review with you so that you can in turn put it on your websites or your social media or post it up or whatever. And that's really, really important because, when people are like, they're kind of, kicking the can, kind of tossing a quarter, they don't really have whatever. But then they see these reviews and they're bragging about this phenomenal experience that you put together for them, then their perception of you is already going to start off pretty strong. And that's always a really good step to already have taken. So, positive reviews and testimonials from satisfied customers can really enhance the perceptions of you being credible and trustworthy. And then, of course, negative reviews can completely tarnish your reputation and really deter them from becoming potential clients. So that's why I always try to make sure that I stop and take a breath, no matter how many times I've taken care of a particular item in an itinerary, or how many times, we got bumped off of that flight, but whatever the case may be, I always want to make sure that I'm presenting myself fresh and not flustered so that they always feel like everything's handled and everything's okay. Because even when things really aren't okay, as long as you're calm and you are, credible, then they're going to listen to you and they're going to lean towards your recommendations. So online reviews can be really huge in helping to, really catapult you above a business, for instance, that doesn't have any reviews. Nobody has anything to say at all, right? Has any are any of you who are watching live, are you big reviewers? Do you like to go and review things? Yes, yes. Never done one. It's really, really easy to call up a company or a restaurant or whoever, and it's really, really easy to complain. And so I make it a habit that if I'm sitting at the table or if, we just walked out of a business and if I'm turning to my husband, I'm like, oh my gosh, this person, that helped us or that did this um, business, whatever for us. Oh my gosh, they were so awesome. They were so knowledgeable. They were so patient that whatever. If I find myself doing that, I make it a point to either call the actual manager or to get online and to put that information out there. And more people are getting comfortable with the fact that social media platforms are not going anywhere. I've said it before. You may not be on social media, but I guarantee your clients and customers are. So knowing where you can, make the little pivots to improve something in your business are key. And one way to be able to gauge that on how you're doing or how a particular service is, or maybe you have a new excursion company, a tour company that you're using, and you're getting that feedback. It's so helpful in helping you grow and making sure that you are hitting the target, right? Yeah. And then, of course, we have our advertising and marketing because, perception plays a crucial role in the effectiveness of advertising and marketing efforts in the travel industry. Because the way travel services are portrayed in advertising, which includes, the imagery that we talked about, the messaging, the branding, can either shape this customer or client's perception of the brand and influence their decision towards you, or if it's just sloppy, not put together, doesn't really have a message, then that's definitely going to be something that's going to sway them in the other direction. So we've talked about this from the beginning, setting these little steps and setting this foundation as we grow is what is going to really make you have a success in your business. I told, when I first started taking all these classes and everything, I was like, oh, great. I know how to book this and I can do that. And I have all of these different suppliers that I can use. And then I was like, okay, okay, now what? I didn't really think about branding myself. And then there's all these decisions to make, am I branding a particular brand or am I branding myself? Because you see a lot of people that are entrepreneurs, small business owners and such, that use their name or some, piece of their name, and that's their brand. And then you have others that have this name that you just don't even know where it came from, having anything to do with them or particularly the business that they have. So these things are really, really important. And I mentioned before, I expect Trend Travel to someday be right up there with Coca-Cola. You see my logo, you see my colors, hear the name. You don't need anybody to spell it for you. TRY, there's a Y, because I'm going to make sure that I am really having that strong foundation each and every time I step out the door and every time that I'm presenting myself and my business, because that word of mouth is another thing that really, really can help elevate your business or completely put it in the toilet. So being able to get recommendations is huge. I know when I first started and I was asking, okay, so where do I get all these clients? I was so envious of the people who were in a large group, for instance, a sorority or a fraternity or already had an adult parenting group or something that they were already a part of, because it was a really great place for them to start off. And that was one of the things that attracted me to booking and creating content for group vacations, was because, you might have one person come to you about this vacation for this group that they're putting together. Maybe it's the head of the family, or maybe it's the head of the graduating class, what have you. And that one person might have already seen, what your business has to offer, and they're really, really pleased. But don't forget, you're not just booking for one person, you're booking for each and every person that is in that group. And so, there's nothing better than having someone that you didn't really know because you didn't speak to them much. There's nothing better than having someone that was on that cruise with so and so and the group that went to wherever. And they call you because they want you to book for them, because the perception of your business is just stellar. And they want to book with you and they want to be your client. And so you have to make sure that you are standing up and showing up each and every day for each and every person that you come into contact with. And again, it's not saying you have to be on duty 24/7, but always keep in mind that when you step out your door, you very well are representing your business. And the perception that people have of you, unfortunately, if they know that you're the owner of that business, you definitely want to make a good impression or a positive one, and portray yourself as confident and professional and in the know, so that you can make sure that, again, we're shaping this foundation that we want for our brand. Because the word of mouth referrals are powerful, because they really drive the consumer behavior in the travel industry. And then a positive perception of a destination or a different travel service based on experience that someone else had, it's huge, because the recommendations of friends and families, or even online influencers, which they're just growing in numbers in each and every niche, it significantly can influence a traveler's decision whether or not to book with you, whether or not to book that destination, etc. So those are huge. I was really nervous in the beginning about asking for my first recommendation. But people, if they really truly enjoy the experience that you put together for them, they're not going to mind. I mean, they may be really busy, and it may be, a spouse that does it instead of maybe the person you were speaking to, whoever has the time. But I was really nervous. I was like, I hope I did good. It was, my first booking. Don't really know, but there's no better way to find out than asking. And then when you look at your recommendations and that word of mouth, on one of your social platforms, or maybe it's on your Google business page, and you see that positive, raving review of either the service you provided or the destination you sent them to, you just know that all the way around, all the little T's were crossed and all the little I's were dotted, and they were happy, they were pleased, and now they're telling everyone. And that's a great feeling. Now, discussions of how the perception shapes a client's impressions of travel agents and agencies also influence their booking decisions. So overall, in a nutshell, perception in the travel industry influences consumer behavior by helping to shape their beliefs and their expectations. And maybe you're changing the expectation that they thought they had. Maybe they're like ho hum about something, and you were really able to shape and change that way of them looking at it. And that is great for not just your business, but also for the destinations and other travel businesses and services, whether it's a tour company or someone who provides excursions. But understanding and managing the perceptions effectively is going to make the travel business really enhance their reputation and enhance yours. And by doing that, you're going to attract more clients, and then you're really going to drive your business growth. So, any questions as of yet? No. No, Lori, I do realize this just seems like all of this information. I'm so glad that you were able to get on with us today so that you could, we could kind of talk back and forth. Not to say that the recordings aren't equally as good because it's the same content, but if you are able to go back and watch episode 1 and episode 2, you'll see that there's common denominators within all of the different information that I'm giving you, no matter what the topic. And, I kind of try to weave them in together so that something that you're hearing on week 1 that you feel so overwhelmed with and you don't think you're going to ever remember what I said, you'll hear me hit on it again, in 2 and 3 and further down the line, because building a foundation is what it's kind of just doing the same thing and over and over again. If it's a mud wall, you're laying 4 layers on top of each other, and it might just be a little bit different than the layer underneath it, but you're just adding to, and that makes it strong and it makes it grow. And it's essential in getting started, because you can have all these great ideas and know how to do all this great stuff, but if you don't know how to tell anybody and nobody's listening to you because they just really don't perceive you as being a business person that knows anything, or that, whatever. So making sure that these things are something that we keep in the forefront of our mind are equally as important as knowing how to use a particular booking engine, or where the best travel destinations or promos and travel deals are. So equally important. And that brings me to identifying your unique value proposition. And you're like, what is that? Well, for short, it's UVP, but no one can ever remember what it stands for if you just say UVP. So I will say unique value proposition, probably 10 times in this little section. And we are going to kind of explore what that concept is and its role in shaping and changing perceptions in the industry and towards your business. So the concept of a unique value proposition plays a role by shaping the perception, because it's defining and communicating the distinctive beliefs and advantages that your product, your service, or your brand offers to your target audience. And so being able to differentiate that and showing your unique value is going to be something that really is attractive to potential clients. I mentioned before that my big niche is that I focus towards the clients, whether they're single, married, no matter the age group. I know that there are a ton of people that either have to travel or really want to travel, but they don't want to deal with the details. And so, my making sure that I'm letting you know, you just tell me A, and then I've got the rest of the alphabet. If I have any questions, I will come to you because I know that when I vet a client that I'm really listening. And sometimes you have to listen to what they're not saying. And so that, means a lot to clients because people like to be heard. And so if they're explaining what they want and then I like bring something out of left field, they're like, "That she's not even listening." And so sometimes they're flustered and they don't know what they want, but they know what they need. And so listening to the unspoken words that are maybe in between the lines is also important. And it's what I think makes me unique because I'm able to pick up on things that I don't feel like any of my competitors or travel partners do. So I make sure that that's something that I make I put out there and I advertise and market that I do that. So if you have a well-defined, unique value proposition that clearly communicates how your brand is unique and different, then that really catches the eye of the clients. Because let's say we have, three different hamburger stores. They seem to all be on the same corner, right? They're on the same street and they all make hamburgers and they all make cheeseburgers. But one of the things that, oh, okay, Carl is already saying fries. And that's exactly right, Carl. That's exactly where I was going for. And that is perfect because that is really a great illustration of a unique value proposition because everybody's got hamburgers and everybody's got cheeseburgers and everybody's got fries. But the war of the fries is epic. Like people have hands down their favorites and another one that they just wouldn't even waste their time ordering, right? So that makes them unique. And so that makes them stand above all the other hamburgers and all the other cheeseburgers. And so you're wanting to find that caveat that makes you unique. So you can make sure that you're standing up, above all the fries. By highlighting your specific features or what types of benefits that a client would get with you, or what attributes set your brand apart, then your unique value proposition is going to shape what the consumer's perception is of your brand's value and where you're relevant in the market. If they are just feeling like, if you're just not putting anything forward and you're not standing out, above anybody, like you don't even have fries, maybe, they're still frozen. I don't know. But, if you aren't shining in a different light, you don't have to shine brighter. But if you shine in a different light, then that's definitely something that catches people's attention. And it's going to really help to shape their perception of what it is that you're offering. And a lot of people like attention to detail, especially the clients that I work with, because again, like I said, they don't have time for the details. They don't have any interest in the details. They just want me to take care of the details. And so, by making sure that my light might shine a completely different color, we might be, booking the same kind of travel for this particular group, but I'm going to be unique in a way that's going to set me aside from your business and your brand. And when people can start putting together those attributes that your business has compared to another brand or another company or agency, then that's when you really start seeing success and growth in your company. And then also a unique value proposition has, if it's creating positive associations, then that, again, speaks in the minds of the consumer when they're looking around for who it is that they want to book with. And when they perceive something the service or your brand, and they perceive that it's, offering something valuable and relevant and distinctive, and personalized to what they're looking for, then they're more likely to form a positive and favorable impression of not just your brand, but maybe a view of the particular destination. And their attitudes start leading to a stronger brand perception and then loyalty over time with your brand. Again, I'm not trying to book a one off. I want you to remember me down the road. I don't care if you don't book another vacation, for 10 years. I want to be the first person that comes to mind. So making sure that I have that valuable, you know, attribute that people are looking for, or particularly you, because you're my only client, right? Then that's really gonna speak volumes when it comes, time, even if it's somewhere really, out in the future. But if you are, we talked a little bit about pain points. If you'll remember in the very first, well, I think we probably talked about it in both of our episodes so far. But if you can figure out what their pain point is, again, they have a problem, but it's no big deal because you have the solution. Like you have solutions to problems that they didn't even know that they had, which is important. And if you're able to really focus on what their specific desires are and what their pain points are, and then they're going to really resonate towards you because you've got their preferences already met, and you've shown that these things are priority to you and your brand and what you're paying attention to. And so that's really gonna, build that trust and credibility again because you're fulfilling these unmet needs. Nobody else is taking care of, I'm sure the very first travel agent that booked transportation from the airport to the destination they were going to, I bet they threw a parade for them because what a minor thing that can turn out to be a huge catastrophe if you forget about it, especially if you have a group of people standing outside in the weather, in the climates, in the increments, and they are waiting for what? It's almost too late. So if you're fulfilling these needs that, man, nobody's ever, said anything about I can get through TSA faster, or hey, nobody's ever talked to me about traveler's insurance. These little things and these little steps are going to really demonstrate that you have empathy and you have understanding, and it's going to enhance these clients and consumers' perceptions of your brand. And it's really going to show that you are a brand and customer centric company and that you're trustworthy, and people want to trust someone they're giving hundreds and thousands of dollars to, whether they're going on a road trip or they're going on a world tour, right? So you want to make sure that you have that credibility and trustworthiness just really shining through. And then also it enhances the perceived value of the brand. And if it's, you know, elevating that brand in the eyes of the consumers, then they see that it's, offering all these unique benefits and advantages that, maybe someone has never even, breached the topic with before, then it's really going to justify any prices that are maybe increased, or really show that you're providing value. And that's where your costs are coming over maybe different alternatives. So, what our big goal is we want to start, establish a consistent, unique value proposition that reinforces your key brand attributes and also backs up your messages and helps to build a very distinct identity for yourself, and one that's going to resonate with the target audience that you want to attract. And it's going to really make you just stand out, heads above any of the competitive landscape that's out there. So if you're, specializing in a particular niche market and you can offer unique experiences that, another agency or agent doesn't offer, then, you're really providing that exceptional customer service. And if you're leveraging all the connections with all the different suppliers and your expertise and rolling them all up into this package, these are the things that bring growth. And these are the things that bring people and clients back to you time and time again. So these things are very important to have your unique value. Which brings me to crafting your brand image and identity, which we really went over a lot more in our last webinar, but we spoke about, okay, for those of you who weren't here, let's think about Nike. What did everybody think? Someone said Jordans. I've got the swish, the coloring, the value. Exactly. Okay. So when you are thinking about your brand and your personality for your business, no matter what that personality is, you really want to make sure that you are consistent across all of your boards, which includes your color palettes and your different fonts and your messaging and all of the different visual imagery that you're putting out. You want it to be consistent and you want it to make sure that it's really crafted towards the brand and the perception that you're trying to portray to your audience. And so if you are able to create a cohesive and memorable brand identity like Nike, like Coca-Cola, like Victoria's Secret, that really reflects what your unique value is, then it's going to resonate with your target audience. And that, again, is going to lead towards building that authority and trust, because authority in a destination or a particular niche really, really is helpful, because someone might really, really like traveling to the Caribbean, but they've never been to the Caribbean. They have an idea of what to expect. They have a perception of what they're expecting. So making sure that you're able to, have that transparency, that you're going to be offering these authentic and these personalized experiences, for something that they've already just got this great vision for, is so important. So you want to make sure that you are differentiating that when you're shaping the perception of your brand. And so if you can, we talked about doing the market research, and it's important that you don't just gather a bunch of information to have. You really want to make sure that you can identify where the gaps are in the market. Perhaps you have a niche and you're noticing that there's just something that always seems to be left out or really not paid, much attention to in that particular niche. Then if you're able to fill that gap and, provide that service that's not being met, then that's really going to make sure that you're staying, heads on in above your competitors. And then also, you want to understand what their weaknesses are. Maybe they're a company that, or an agency, or a independent contractor, and they've been around forever. Maybe it's a family name, it's just been passed down through the generations. Everybody knows their name, everybody, but they've got a weakness because there's this one particular area that you always hear people say something about that always could be maybe tweaked a little bit, or maybe just paid more attention to, or maybe just, handled altogether. So if you're leveraging your unique strengths and that differentiates you again from anybody, then you're going to be able to carve out this position in the market that you choose to be in. And, let's not forget, we talk a lot about the social profiles and platforms that we are able to utilize, which is huge, because it's really shaping what the perception is. You've got all this information from all these different sources and all these different peoples from maybe all these different industries. And so that's really, it's just like the news. And we're seeing a lot of that today. And I will not get on the soapbox, but whatever people are being told, whatever people are being shown, that is generally what they're going to gravitate towards believing as so. Again, maybe they love the Caribbean, but they've never been. But it's all these images and all these messages that they've been getting over the years that have formed their perception of what it is that they're wanting and where it is that they're going. So you want to make sure that you do have that online presence as far as your media platforms and your websites, but don't forget about that email marketing and getting those reviews from your clients. And then equally important are your offline channels. Can anybody name any offline channels? What I mean by that? Getting out in the community. Exactly. Anything that's not content that you've generated and you've put somewhere for people to see, but it's attending these industry shows. It is coming, to a presentation that someone else is giving, or it is participating in a trade show. I know that, people really weren't thinking originally that a bridal expedition or extravaganza was necessarily for travel, but hello, we have got all of these destinations that are providing these wonderful honeymoon experiences. But did you know that they also have baby moons, and they have there's for instance, I know Sandals offers you, and I know that some more brands are doing it as well, but they're allowing, the bridegroom or the bride family or whoever a certain amount of days to come and kind of taste test their destination so that they can kind of get some of the details together and also show them what kind of experience they're going to have. It's huge. So if you're not going to those events, you're not able to tap into that, you know, group of people that are going to be booking travel, whether it's to get away afterwards to relax or it's a honeymoon or something like that. But you really want to be able to stay involved in all areas of the industry so that you are relevant and you are making sure that you are seen. And then you have to be able to measure and monitor what perception is of your brand. You need to be able to kind of evaluate the effectiveness of your branding and your strategies and your marketing efforts. You'll notice, like, for instance, if you are, putting content up on Facebook, they will allow you to do an A and a B. And basically it's either changing the name, the headline of whatever it is that you're promoting, or maybe you're changing all the information is the same, but the picture's different, and kind of lets you get a feel for what it is that your audience is gravitating towards. Because you don't want to make all this great stuff that nobody's looking at. You want it to catch their eye. So if you're, and that's why it's important to really make sure that you go back and revisit these little, timestamps to find out if you are still meeting the goals and if you're still being effective in what it is that you're doing with your marketing efforts. And then, you can do that not just in doing like an A or B type thing, but you can also uh you can excuse me, you can take the data and get that together in either like a poll or a survey or a feedback form. And even if it's someone who didn't book with you, maybe they're going to book later, but you could, have a form that they fill out, just a little quick short, 2, 3 question thing, and kind of gauge what it was that brought them to you, what you could maybe improve on, because, people, you obviously want to come across as the expert in your niche, and you obviously want to come across as knowledgeable and the go-to person. But it's also very humbling when someone is asking your opinion. Is there anything else that I could have paid attention to or offered, or things like that? Because you know you're not going to have every idea in the world. You're not going to have every, oh my gosh, yes, we got to add that in. So you really have to listen to what your clients and customers and community are saying, because maybe they've seen it someplace else. It's okay if you're doing the same type of thing. Um, just don't copyright anything. But other than that, that data driven information that you can get when you are looking into these can allow you to adjust your strategies as needed, if needed. So again, we discussed quite a few important pieces that are necessary to either put into your business plan, put into your weekly plan to really get your foundation solid so that you can cancel out the noise and just really be the go-to, you rising above everything else. We talked about not just, getting this research and getting this material and getting these surveys and whatnot, but really being able to pivot when necessary and maybe lay more foundation to make something stronger when needed as well. And we really talked about how the perception of your brand and of the industry as a whole, how important that is. Because, if you're in a business that the industry in itself, I mean, it's huge, but if it just doesn't have a very good reputation, like, if all of a sudden everywhere around the world was dangerous and dirty and, had nothing attractive to offer, then travel wouldn't be as appealing to everyone. So it's being able to really pinpoint what those attractions are and what those pain points are so that you can make sure that the perception that you are molding and growing is really going to elevate your success for your business. We talked about the word of mouth and the online reviews, and also about advertising and marketing, not just on your online available platforms, but also in your community and with different events, and how these things can really, really help to elevate you above. Because, that person that's always out there and is always being seen is usually the first person that someone taps on the shoulder when they have a question. So you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to let people know that you, yes, also offer travel. And yes, you also book accommodations, but you have a very unique value that no one else can offer your particular niche. So you want to make sure that you're putting that first and foremost in the front and identifying what your unique values are. So that will build your trust, your authority, your credibility. It will show your experience. It will show that you are trustworthy and just, I love the word authentic, because to me that's like that's the insides, right? It's an authentic and genuine, you can fill in the blank, and that just really resonates. And I want people to say, she's just so genuine, she's just so, I don't know, and she just met, when you can have people just not finish the sentences, then you know that your strategies are building this perception that there's nowhere to go beyond you. So again, everyone, I'm just thrilled to see so many repeat faces. I'm so excited to see some new faces. And I really appreciate you taking time on your Monday afternoon to sit down for a little bit and put in a little bit of time for you and for your business and for the growth and success that you need in laying out these steps for a successful foundation. We will be back next Monday, and it will be same time, same place for episode 4 of Master Steps. And I'm really excited. Again, if you would please go to at Traveling Trends on Facebook and join my group. That's where there's no passwords, there's just content and ideas and collaborating. And it's a brand new community. I'm trying to grow it bigger. So please, if you'll go to at Traveling Trends, and then also subscribe on my YouTube page to make sure that you get all of these episodes watched, and they don't even really need to be in any particular order at this point. I also wanted to share real quick in the last minute that I took a class yesterday, and it provided me some tools on doing content for YouTube. Not like this, but just like in general, that I hope to be able to roll over into my masterclass that I'll be offering to just add a little bit more value to that particular class. So again, I appreciate you coming. I will see everyone next week. If you have particular questions or content, then leave your comments in the section below. Send me an email, contact me directly. I love to hear from you. So as always, I will catch you on the flip flop and safe travels. Y'all have a great night.